What's up, narrative breakers? Chicago residents are currently breaking the internet for exposing their mayor, Brandon Johnson, and the entire Democrat Party in what has to be a life-changing event for the city of Chicago. We are witnessing the era where there is nowhere they can walk. They can't walk the streets anymore, and we have literal black people in Chicago begging for Tom Homan and Donald J. Trump to come to their city and save it. What an era to be alive.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. You spent over $574 million on illegal immigrants here in Chicago, Illinois since 2022. Now, you still feel like you have to harbor these illegals, which is not a good idea. And in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to challenge Tom Homan on this because he's trying to clean up our cities, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Now, let me just...
Now, Tom Homan, if you guys don't know, that's the incoming border czar. He's coming in pretty strong and at the surprise of everyone with the support of black individuals. Not a surprise to me. As you guys know, have seen the documentary I have, Chicago, the New Venezuela. It's on YouTube. We broke down how black people were feeling threatened by Venezuelans coming into their city. They felt as if they were losing their necessities, losing their ability to thrive in that city. And they were willing to put their differences aside to fight what they called an incoming invasion. So it's not really that much of a surprise to me. But I will say how vocal the black people in Chicago have gotten. It is, I have to admit, I'm surprised by that because they have beat us down so much to black race into not speaking against their abusers. Black people have the strongest amount of Stockholm syndrome that you can find in America. Only black people will support their abusers. And who is that? The Democrat Party. It's the same party that took them away from their mothers. It's the same party that made us dependent on a welfare state. It's the same party that put this degenerative music out in hip-hop. It's the same party that brought us to where we are. The same party that runs our cities. And yet we defend them vigorously. I say it's very inspiring to see the black people fighting back the way they are right now. And believe it or not, I think it's going to start right here and it's going to transition to other cities, to other states. Because if it can happen in Chicago, it can happen anywhere.
Remind everybody here that Brandon Johnson is terrible with the budget. How is this $40 million credit line is going to work exactly? Because the key word is credit. So how much will we be using from this $40 million? And the real question is, how much will we be paying back? Now, you want to sit here, you and J.B. Pritzker want to puff out your chest and fight Tom Homan. We need Tom Homan here in Chicago. We need Donald Trump. And I don't want to see people like Pam Bundy and Cash Patel, haul you up out of here and become prosecuted. I don't want to see that happen. But they will do their job if they have to, Brandon Johnson. Now, we are $1 billion in debt.
Mind you, they speaking to the mayor. And the thing is, this is what I like to see with black people. Put the guns down. Pick the pens up. Put the guns down, pick the pens up, because I tell you what, it's more deadly than any sword that we could have is that pen. There's a reason why they don't want us to come to council meetings. They much rather us protest. This is the best form of protest. Take it to them. Go to their offices and let them know that you can be civilized individuals and you demand change in your city. They don't expect for you to fight this way. The thing is, Democrats, they got us beat down so much that they have a plan for us as long as we act within their plans. As soon as we start acting outside their simulation, outside of their matrix, they start panicking and they have to present change, which is, trust me, don't get it confused. Democrats providing positive change for the black culture is by far the last result for them. But they will reach that last result if you hold them accountable, and they don't expect accountability.
That's absolutely insane. Kamala Harris, she spent $1 billion on her campaign less than a year, and she's $20 million in debt. So it's looking like Democrats are bad with money. Now, you ignored me for 10 to 15 seconds last time I was speaking, and I really did not appreciate that at all. But I got a Christmas present for you. Let's remind the people of Chicago that Brandon Johnson spent $32,000 in campaign funds on haircuts and makeup. So I got an early Christmas present for you, Brandon Johnson. This is some makeup for you right here. You got some rouge, you got the makeup brush right there, so you can save this people some money, for crying out loud. Now, let me tell you people, I'm gonna be serious here.
I'm not gonna lie. Am I wrong? Am I stretching it to say that this young black individual should get involved in the politics in Chicago? And I'm saying that because Him bringing that makeup was just brilliant, and that's the stuff politicians do. It adds the awe to what he's saying, and it adds emphasis to his passion. I just think that was a nice little move for him, just to be someone that goes to a council meeting or whatever this town hall meeting is. Just brilliant bringing that makeup. I'm telling you, that black individual to me, he's moving like a politician. The way he's holding Brandon Johnson accountable, showing people visual representation of his complaints. It's just great. And this is the creativity that they fear from blacks. Now, I'm not going woke. You guys know I ain't about to go woke on this, but you know who I'm saying fear them. Democrats fear black people. White Democrats fear black people. They fear them from being respected class. They fear them from even becoming conservatives because they fear them figuring out that white people aren't as bad as these Democrats claim. Hell, they start to find out that everyone is pretty much as bad as Democrats claim. And they start to find out Democrats are worse than anyone they claim is bad. So we're seeing a massive awakening, which is going to lead to a mass exodus. And he set it off. There were other people that came out and grilled Brandon Johnson and the entire Democrat Party. I feel like this is an extremely important video for anyone that is on the edge, anyone that is considering jumping from left to right. Watch the video right here and look at the thoughts and opinions of individuals that's been in your same shoes.
We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago. Stop voting these people in. It's not Democrat versus Republican anymore. It is populist versus establishment. It is the populist versus the establishment. Stop letting them trick you into the race baiting when it comes to Brandon Johnson. Oh, black people need help too. Trump want to hurt black people. What are you talking about? We're legal here. We are legal. Now, I'm trying to be nice about this. And Mr. Brandon Johnson, I do respect you in a little bit of way because you're trying the best that you can. I really want to believe that. But listen, man, you got a 14% approval rating. So the people is looking like they're telling you that you're fired, man. So I'm just humbly asking you, Brandon Johnson, to please come up with something that's reasonable.
And if you guys think he's being too rough on Brandon Johnson, I promise you, by the time you finish my entire video, you won't think that no more. He is truly one of the largest race baiters there is. And one of the poorest excuses for a politician, let alone a mayor.
By the end of this year, because I don't want to see a government shutdown, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Please do your job. I don't care if you're black. Chicago needs to get rid of DEI. I don't care if you're black. Can you do the job? Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And it's looking like you can't do the job. So please don't fail us.
Ooh, mic drop, mic drop, mic drop, mic drop. So you know it's bad when you get the black women to start complaining because, look, I'm going to be honest. Black people are emotional. But if you got a whole group of emotional people, which gender would you expect to be more emotional, the females or the males? I would expect the females. That's their natural biology. So with it being the females, I think it's very, very important to see women starting to hold Democrats accountable, especially coming off the loss of Kamala Harris, which they tried to gaslight women into believing that she was one of them. The fact that women are looking past that and saying, that ain't mean nothing to me, and I care about how my city's looking, they aren't going on the whole, oh, white America doesn't care about black women, so they wouldn't elect one. No, they're not paying that no mind. They're holding these Democrats accountable. They said, we ain't paying no mind to that BS on Kamala. We're not paying no mind to none of the stuff that you tried to push on us. We're moving backwards. And I know you might think I say forward, but no, black people are moving backwards. Because anytime we move forward, it never led to anything good. Seriously. Look at what happened after the 1960s, after the civil rights era. That was called moving forward. But yet, our participation rates in the workforce dropped. Our marriage rates dropped. Our birth rates dropped. And even our crime increased. All of these things happened after we, quote unquote, progressed. They said that we were progressing with BLM. How did that turn out for us? Every time that we march and get into the streets that these Democrats set up, they say we progressing and moving forward. I don't want us to move forward. I see us moving backward, and I couldn't be happier. The farther back in the past we go is the farther we get from this degenerative rap culture, the farther we get from the Democrat BS that they've pushed on us, and the closer we get back to where we wore suits, top hats, and tied our own ties, and look like respectable gentlemen out in these streets. So I can't wait for us to go back to the 20s, to the 10s. Let us go back. We don't need to go forward. When I see these videos, it's a vision of us moving backward.
Illegal immigrants, you don't accountable for it. You're trying to cover up where our money actually went. But it's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals.
You've spent over $574 million on illegal immigrants here in Chicago, Illinois since 2022. Now, you still feel like you have to harbor these illegals, which is not a good idea. Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And it's looking like you can't do the job.
Good afternoon.
I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now? You see the Mayor Brandon Johnson, you underestimate us. You underestimate the black people, and you underestimate Chicago.
So I will say this. It does kill me when black people will be like, someone's already in office. Or just not even black people. Let me not put that on black people. That's coonish. I'll say that's coonish. Uneducated people of politics, they swear after the election is done that someone's automatically in office. I've actually met people who be like, man, like my cousins have called me and be like, man, congrats, man. You gonna go to the White House and see Trump this week? Like, dude, what the hell? No. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from the flu, which I'm gonna give all y'all a shout out about that after this. But dude, it kills me. He's not in office yet. He has to be in office after he's sworn in next month. And another thing is that you have black people now thinking that they won Trump the election. We did help a lot with the culture, trust me, and I've been fighting for it. I wanted to make the culture more accepting of conservatism, but our numbers could have been higher. We didn't do enough. Latinos did more. I'm just being real. I'm black. I want it to be more. I do. We can't get to where we want to be unless we admit where we at.
Chicago red. We're the thorn in y'all side, and we're going to be the thorn on everybody else in this council member side too. If you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to take matters in our own hand, and we're going to stop it. You know that Trump had pulled 45% of the voter in the state of Illinois, 37 in the city of Chicago? That's the statistic. That means that Illinois is turning purple. We're going to turn red.
Y'all can bird dog me all y'all want, but if it's relationship over duty, then y'all don't serve the blue. And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please.
You a criminal right now, I got to...
Now I will say this. Boy, these people funny. Hey, I will say this. Chicago is turning red, which is crazy. We just won Miami. Now, this is why I know this is definitely Democrat Party. You got to understand, Democrats don't have states, they got cities. They're actually losing their cities. Look at Chicago specifically, and look at how much it turned red on this recent election. It's biblical. I'm not over-exaggerating. Now, Chicago, when he was saying that, I do understand that he's speaking on Chicago itself. I was talking about the whole United States and voting, but Chicago actually did make noise. And Chicago, out of all the major cities, is one of the most conservative cities coming in 2024.
Address you. The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented, while you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 33%? When C. Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected. You and that creep over there.
Acting like, you just going to bully everybody. You got people... officers whose families don't even want you to come to the funeral? You just like a schoolyard bully. That at some point, and you might not know nothing about it because you grew up in Elgin, but those of us who grew up on the south side and west side of Chicago, we all know at some point that bully gets cornered in the alley, and everybody come at him. And he ain't gonna have nobody to help him. That's you. That's you. Keep thinking you ain't gonna abide by what the President of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in City Council in red. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So you and the rest of them that know what time it is, y'all come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser. He's a loser. No, me and Zoe, we ain't doing nothing for nobody except for ourselves. We got you, loser.
14% rating is what you appear to have, Brandon Johnson, across the United States, or how they see you. But 14% rating. Now, I'm going to talk about all those known donations of $11.5 million that came from places like the
Jesus.
CTU, the SEIU, the American Federation of Teachers, Illinois Federation of Teachers, and then someone got the nerve to get on there and talk about cutting the pensions. What about our real estate? Because, see, we paid for these properties for a purpose and not for you to go touching it with $300 million that you want to siphon out of the citizens' pockets. Get rid of the illegals, and that'll take your money right back. Start it off with that.
Chicago City Council narrowly approving Mayor Brandon Johnson's 2025 budget, including a controversial $40 million.
It's not been good for Mayor Brandon Johnson, and he's one of the stars of my YouTube channel now. I've been having to cover this individual more than I would like. And he's been very deserving of it. He's been very deserving. I'm telling you guys, I think this is like near like my 10th or 11th or so Chicago video. There's a reason for it. Chicago, to me, is the most interesting city in America because they have the opportunity to do something unreal. It's to display to America how good conservative values can help your entire environment. We understand Chicago, at least through my lifetime, has been known as one of the bloodiest, if not the most bloody city, the most deadly city, the most violent city, the most destroyed city in terms of culture. Imagine what it would say for the rest of America if they just turned all that upside, if they just shifted all when they embrace conservatism. So I'm keeping my eyes on Chicago because I think it's going to prove a point to the people. It's the party, not the people.
$1 million short-term loan for a city already swimming in debt, all part of a chaotic meeting where residents slammed the mayor.
You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants. Anything that you all pass is not genuine.
You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion.
He wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt. It's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegal.
Now look, white supremacy is real, y'all.
Say that. Say that.
I'm gonna say that one more time.
Say that.
And this is why I got this video. You see, they strike you down while crying about white supremacy. He crying about white supremacy, but inviting everyone else into his city. You hear me? Crying about white supremacy, but allowing everyone else into his city. I tell you what about this whole white supremacy narrative. A lot of people gonna give me backlash for this. I'd rather be surrounded by a bunch of those than people that don't know how to build anything for themselves. I'm just serious. If you can't build your nation up to a better place, then I'd rather be here with the supremacists that fought it out with us, that made this country what it is. Because I'm not about to be sitting here beside no stranger, bro. And that's what they're doing, inviting strangers that don't understand us and telling them to act like
Because in case the city of Chicago don't know, you got a black mayor with a black wife, black children on the west side of Chicago. And all of these other administrations that shut down our schools, that shut down public housing, that raided the pensions, that sold off the parking meter, that sold off the Skyway. Those people ran this city to the ground, and now they expect a brother to fix it in a year. Well, guess what? We're off to a great start, and I look forward to fixing they mess, building up our communities for the next 23 freaking years. God bless you, Chicago. Southside.
So we cut off the pipeline of boys between the ages of 10 and 19 being either victims.
You got to understand, like I tell you by the end of this video, you would understand how unhinged Brandon Johnson is. This is an individual that blamed the race problem. I'm sorry, that blamed the problems in Chicago on race. And not just on race. On President Richard. Man, come on, man. You got to look at this yourself.
Over the perpetrators. So, yeah, it is personal. Black death has been unfortunately accepted in this country for a very long time. We had a chance 60 years ago to get at the root causes, and people mocked President Johnson. And we ended up with Richard Nixon. I'm going to work hard every day to transform this city. That's what it takes to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. I need everybody to step up.
My God.
If you guys can't tell, I can't get enough of that clip. It's just one of the most absurd things I've seen. So, and he's not only just a person that has no, that has no type of consciousness for his own people. He's a coward too. He is always running away from questions, Brandon Johnson. And when he does address questions, he is very demeaning and disrespectful for those that ask it to him. This is him doing the dash. I mean, he would have been better off as a track star than a mayor. I'm trying to see how these people even get elected.
Wait, Mr. Mayor.
No accountability whatsoever.
Mr. Mayor.
Looking like the start of a man, dog. I can't even say what I'm about to say, but it really does remind me of the beginning of an episode of the TV show The Wire on HBO.
Why do you have to run from us?
Mayor, we
Why
just
do
want
you
to
have to
comment
run
about
from
the
us,
arrest
Mr.
last
Mayor?
night in relation to Officer Weska. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
No
why would you
accountability.
run from us?
He just ran.
No accountability, y'all. This is how they do. This is how they do.
Hi, Mayor.
So like I said, he's either running from questions or attacking the people that ask him.
I have a question.
Watch at how he just completely went unhinged at a reporter trying to ask him, why are you getting the hate that you're getting?
Spending. I'm wondering if you could help define what is the role of the First Lady in your administration, and how do we justify spending upwards of $80,000 to redecorate an office for her and staff in our current financial situation?
So the Cultural Center has always been a location for dignitaries. Every First Lady has had office space, there. Renovations for my office or any other office is standard procedure. Our commitment to invest in people is still our commitment.
Is there any concern about optics of spending $4,000 on a desk or $4,000 in club chairs at a time when the city is in this sort of budget hole?
Yeah, a desk is not going to, the purchase of a desk is not going to change the financial structural damage that has been in place for a very long time. So this is why we ask, and I mean this respectfully, we ask far more profound questions than that. We ask, how do we make sure that the structural damage that's been created over the course of decades, that we reroute the rivers, if you will, to make sure that it gets to the places where there's dry land. And that's what we're doing.
Respectfully, sir, the question wasn't necessarily about just the dollar amount, but about the optics of that. We just had a very contentious council meeting, so I'm just wondering if you're concerned about that optics.
So I've been mayor for 17 months, and you have a question about how I feel about optics? Just go back and review the tape. If I were to allow my leadership to be based on someone's opinion of me, it would.
What's happening in America is very, very interesting to me. We have Chicago mayor and New York mayor, two black mayors of two of the largest and some of the most powerful cities in the United States. That goes without saying. And we have a very strange scenario. Both of these mayors are dealing with the immigration problem, and both of them are handling it two different ways, which is getting them two different results. He's embracing the migrants while putting his people under the bus and spending for himself heavily, and it appears to not be getting any backlash from the Democrat Party. Eric Adams, on the other hand, is being investigated rigorously by his party. They're trying to put him in prison. He's been trying to push these immigrants out, even going as far as to say that he's going to work with Trump and Tom Homan and doing everything he can as of today, right now, to help President Trump and him. And he's being vilified by the Democrat Party. Like I said, they're trying to lock him up. They're trying to do everything they could bad to him. But at the same time, he's gaining a massive amount of love from the people. You see, as soon as you start helping the people, you lose support from the people that control them. And Trump learned that the hard way. Eric Adams is learning that the hard way, but it appears Brandon Johnson will never have to learn that because he is just another puppet. But I'm glad these men exist because it gives us something to compare and contrast on what a real individual and what a real clown looks like.
Be a derelict of duty. I never question my position to invest in people. I don't do this for optics. I do this to transform lives. The 30,000 young people that we're going to work to hire next summer, you know what the optics of those are? That 30,000 children actually have jobs. For the people that we are building affordable homes for, the optics of that, they actually have somewhere to lay their head. The optics of making sure that every single child has a social worker and a counselor in their school, and a librarian, what the optics of those are? Is that children actually get what they deserve. And so if there's anything to optically pay attention to the investments on the west and south sides of Chicago.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. So, yeah, I want to first thank everyone for the nice warm wishes for the flu. I'm still getting my voice back a little bit, if you can tell, and still trying to get into the groove of things. But I'm a lot better than I was the last few days ago, and I'm not coughing in y'all ear. Super sorry for that. Didn't know that was going on. I was just toe up. The amount of support that you guys gave me is, dude, I can't come up with no cliche thing to say thank you for. I'm just super, super supportive of it. I was reading through the comments, and it's like, dude, how can you really just get, I don't know, just to wake up and be surrounded with so much support from so many people that you never really got the opportunity to even see in person, and you can feel their love through the screen, man. It's humbling, and it's so empowering. I truly do feel like you guys charge me up, and it makes me want to post. It makes me want to get to it. It makes me want to get energized. It makes me want to keep going. I just don't think enough creators credit the people when it comes to their creation process, which I have always done on Twitter. I attribute that to most of my success, to how I got to 1.5 million followers on Twitter in a year, because I understood how important the people were. And it's no different here. I'm super thankful for y'all. And I even shot the video, which was horrible quality. I'm ashamed of my last video, but I was flued up. I had a horrible flu. And I only did something as ignorant as that because I just wanted to get the content to you guys. I'm just so connected with making sure that I can provide a great break from all of this and some good information. Until the next one today, please like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated. Thank you guys, truly, from the bottom of my heart.